Up next at UFC Vegas 39, we have Lupita Godinez versus Sam Hughes. Lupita Godinez, 5-1 in her career, 4-1 in her last 5, coming off of a loss to Jessica Penne, which was absolute nonsense, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Sam Hughes, 5-3 in her career, 2-3 in her last 5, coming off of that loss to Loma Lookboonmee. Lupita Godinez, Jacob's former lock of the week. I mentioned coming off that loss to Jessica Penne, which honestly was complete nonsense. She won that fight. Bad decision, straight up, but it is what it is. She's a very good wrestler. She has solid striking with real power, nice, clean boxing, and she has really good setups for both her wrestling and her striking. She's fantastic, honestly. You had a solid lock of the week pick when it was against Penne. You just got robbed.
I mean, that's every week. I get screwed every single week.
Every single week. Sam Hughes, not very tough. Dan and I had an argument last time we broke down Sam Hughes, how tough she actually is. But I said not. He said she was. But she is a good size for the weight class. She's very aggressive, but also very hittable. According to the sort of small sample size in the UFC, she gets hit twice as much as she hits the other person. So she lands one and gets 2 landed on her, which is not fantastic. Her forward pressure can be an issue for some people, but I think it'll actually play perfectly into Lupita's skill set, because if you look at her last fight, she was taken down 4 times by a much smaller kickboxer. Loma Lookboonmee was supposed to be this nasty world beater kickboxer, and she just took Sam Hughes down over and over again. No big deal. Sam Hughes marching forward is going to be a problem for her, because Lupita is just going to light her up or take her down and pretty much have her way with her. The odds, we mentioned the last fight, the odds were wide. I think these odds are closer than they should be. This is actually a trilogy. They fought each other twice already. The first time they fought was a draw. The second time they fought, Lupita Godinez won a unanimous decision. Jacob, let us know your thoughts, and then I'll tell you guys what 2 bets I have on this fight.
Yeah, the trilogy. This should have been the headliner of like UFC 267 or something. Loopy Hughes 3. I'd be interested to see those first 2 fights. I'm sure a lot has changed. It was when they were amateurs. They both had some fights since then. But, Loopy, as you mentioned, former lock of the week. She won her last fight. For some reason, she was getting penalized for Penne grabbing onto her, and literally she would just throw Jessica across the octagon, literally just toss her across the octagon. She's going to do the same thing to Sam Hughes in this matchup. I think she's going to absolutely dominate. Loopy is one of those next level fighters that you can watch when you watch her fight, that you can just see that there's a difference between her and most people. I think she's going to be competing for a title pretty soon. I love that. Even at minus 200, I like those odds. I would put her in my DraftKings for sure. $8,600 is crazy value for the stuff that she can pull off. I think she's going to finish this fight and finish that fight probably pretty early. So I love Loopy in this matchup. She's going to absolutely dominate.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. I 100% agree. $8,600 is a great price point for her because takedowns are 5 points. She will land some takedowns. There'll probably be a stoppage here. I have 2 bets on this fight. I have Lupita inside the distance at plus 315. So I can triple my money there. And I have Lupita minus 3.5 points at plus 110. So what that means is you've heard us talk about buying points where we find a really tough underdog that could win 1 round. I just need 1 round and then I'll take my bet. We're actually subtracting points. So if Lupita wins by stoppage, I already have a bet on that, but let's say she wins by stoppage or a unanimous decision at 30-27, so doesn't give up a round, I'll hit that bet as well. That's honestly a bit of an experiment. I'm messing with these minus 3.5s. I hit it last week on Alexander Hernandez. So I'm going to mess with these, takes people that I'm positive are going to win, sprinkle that, see what happens. But anyway, I do have 2 bets on Lupita. I think she's rock solid for DraftKings. I think there's a stoppage, but this line does worry me a bit. I'm probably going to do the less on Monkey Knife Fight. What do you think about that line?
Yeah, I would go either more or less or less. Definitely less for Sam Hughes. And then it just depends on, do you think Sam Hughes is tough or not? So I would probably play the less because I love Loopy.
Yeah, and if you like this line, hit it now, especially if you're watching this live, because Chris will let these lines, every fight we walk through, he will leave these Monkey Knife Fight lines where they are. And then tomorrow, he moves them. So if a bunch of action comes in on this, because you guys all love the less, that line's moving tomorrow. So hit it now before it moves. wewantpicks.com/MKF. If you like the idea of that -3.5 bet, literally the only place you are ever going to find those crazy prop bets, if you go to wewantpicks.com/bets and then jump into the bet online link, all sorts of crazy prop bets. I'm experimenting with the -3.5s. I love the +3.5s. I love buying buying 2 rounds basically on a judge's scorecard for an underdog. I'm experimenting with giving up a round for a favorite. So we'll see how that works out for me.